Good evening to the students of the SLW 616, that is Law and Economics. Yes, Law and Economics. You are welcome to the today blended mode class, and I have given the course test questions today. The CR has come. Perhaps you would have seen it on the group WhatsApp also. Now anyone can unmute and read that what I posted on the screen, so that I am with you and you are with me, and both are traveling in the sailing in the same ship to reach to the destination. Anyone can unmute and read. Participants. Yes, I will read it. Welcome to the students of the SLW616 blended mode class on 1st February 2023 economic crimes. Today that we are going to delete, but a little more left over there in the last class that will finish it. Then I will come to the economic crimes. I will undertake it. So before I could start it, let me finish that what I started earlier, the economic tort or concern up to the asterisk that I made it here. Is the economic tort, economic analysis in the tort law that we are dealing in the last class. And we are dealing with the defenses. Unlike the inducing the breach, the defense of the justification cannot be employed for the unlawful interference, as a classical case law, Rook versus Bernard, that you are studying in the law of tort, and where they say it is not amount to any inducing, nor it is a fraud. It is a general statement which is said in that case law. In short, if an act is unlawful, it cannot be justified, but only the lawful act can be justified. The exception to this rule is where the unlawful act is threatening or causing breach, but the defendant has a pre-existing legal right which equals or overrides the right of the interfering with an example of the Edwin versus Hills and Partner versus First National Finance Corporation above. So these are to that extent that we covered it in our last class. Then let us see that today the conspiracy is concerned. So the law recognizes the situation with the group of factors come together with the aim of the harming the claimant's business or trade via unlawful means or otherwise. In a similar rationale to the concept of the conspiracy in a criminal law, conspiracy to commit economic tort is designed to allow a claimant to bring a case against a group of malicious plotters who otherwise would avoid liability, because their individual actions are not it and of themselves tortious. So what I want to say here, if the two or more people with a common intention to do particular harm, then we can say it is a conspiracy as far the IPC sections are concerned. If I am not mistaken, it's I don't know what is the IPC in the, Tanzania Penal Code for the conspiracy. Participant, anyone can unmute and give me the answer. Anyway, you check it. I believe that conspiracy, yes, there is a provision would be there. And when you come to the matter of these, okay, let us see that. Please check it and see what is there. Two and more people with having a common intention to make the harm to any person is said to be the conspiracy. And there is a criminal conspiracy and a conspiracy with the economic tort also there, to allow the claimant to bring a case against a group of malicious plotters, because in the conspiracy there is a definitely malice is there, M-A-L-I-C, malice or malice, because only one of them actually took the tortious act, but the other will be watching them or preparing them or helping them or abetting them. They are comes under the common intention for the equally liable, even though they did not indulge in the tortious act directly. So this tort is particularly relevant considering the often complex business structure of the modern corporations and financial entities. So now let us see the conspiracy to injure. Conspiracy to injure, the tort is essentially an agreement between the several actors, means the people, those who are doing the act, tortfeasors, rather we can say, to act together to injure the claimant business or interest. Either he can cause the injury or the injury to the business result in the damage. Mere agreement is not enough. Mere agreement is not enough, but there should be a common intention to execute such an idea. That is a more important factor. It is a key that the conspirators' actions are aimed at the claimant rather than merely being a genuine attempt to further their own business interests. So now the question comes over there. What is the key that the conspirators' actions are? Actions are aimed at the claimant rather than merely being a genuine attempt to further their own business interest. If their own business interest, if they want to do anything, if that causes the harm to other person, it is not amount to the conspiracy. Because every person wants to make their business fast. So in other words, malice is required, notably, however, the tort does not necessarily an illegal act such as a breach of contract or unlawful activities. Unless there is a malice, a bad intention or a motive, then only that tort will be committed. The tort is essentially one of acting in a legal manner, but in such a way that the aim is clearly economic injury of another. If the economic injury is caused to another when they are right in their own sense, then the maximum is there, a damage without legal injury. Demnum sine injuria will be applicable over there. Rather than a self-profit. It should be noted that this tort is rarely applied and highly controversial since essentially it imports the liability on the group of people for taking the preferably legal action. See, when you want to bring an action in the conspiracy, but two or more persons should be there and they have to execute an act and there would be a common intention and that act will be causes the harm to the other person, either in the bodily or the property way by any other means. If the bodily injury is there, then we can say it's a criminal injury, there is a criminal conspiracy. If the financial injury is there, then we can say the civil injury, or we can say the civil cause of action, or we can say it is a tort causing a civil wrong and injuring a person, a legal right is concerned. In both the Lanho and Shannon and the Lanho and Fayed, these are the two cases, the court have confirmed that this tort still exists, but have noted that the bar for the finding out that a legal business practice is illegitimate is extremely high. In these two cases, there is very much clearly made. If it is a business, competition is allowed. If it is a legal injury is caused over there, then the damages are awarded. Like that we discussed demnum sine injuria and injuria sine demnum. In the demnum sine injuria, where there is substantial damage is caused but there is no legal injury is caused over there, a legal right is not violated. At that instant, even though there is a substantial damage is caused, but still the plaintiff could not recover. When a matter comes to the legal injury is caused without any damage, there is injuria sine demnum. And the classical case law that we recite is Ashby versus White. But the demnum sine injuria, that classical case law is the Gloucester Grammar School case law that we recite there. These are all we studied there in your degree, UG. Am I right? Participants, are you there? I said the class is as usual, but I will give the rolling slips. It doesn't mean that I will miss the class. No. My purpose of staying in the Tanzania is to take the classes and make the research. No other obligations, I do have it. Okay, that this tort is illustrated in the Kin versus Letham also. And the case in the focus is Kin versus Letham, how it can be. The defendant Quinn et al. And others were the head and officers of a butcher's union. A butcher's union is there. Who is the butchery? He is a man who sells the flesh of either the beef or the goat. You can say they are all said to be the butchers. The claimant Letham was a butcher who employed some non-union members. He is another butcher and he employed the non-union members in his butchery shop. The union put pressure on the claimant to fire the non-union employees. So the other union members are pressurized this Letham, and who kept the non-union member in his shop to terminate their services. Because every employee should be a member of the union. That is the rule is there. Of course, one should have to follow because trade union is more powerful, especially when you come to the employer and employee industries are concerned. So the non-union employee attempted to join the union at one of their meetings, but were prevented from doing so because only the members of the union will be joining the meeting, but non-members will not be allowed to join the meeting. and union at one of their meeting but were prevented from doing so. And this was apparently out of spite. The union are quoted as a wishing that one of the applicant should be made homeless along with his 9 children. The union then put a pressure on the butcher to fire his service employees and hire those of the union members. This involved pressuring the claimant wholesale customer to stop the trading with him, putting the claimant on the blacklist, and eventually buying that the claimant stops contract so that they quit. So they will stop the other buyers from the Lithium butchery, because Lithium has implied that true employees, those who are the non-union members. And the other union members are pressurizing this Lithium to terminate the two members, those who are the non-members. If they don't do so, they can ask the other people, those who are buying from the Lithium butchery, the mutton or beef, whatever it may be. And there is economic loss definitely to the Lithium, because the great customers, those who are taking the quintals together, they did not take it. And what will be the happen? Only 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 3 kilo will be purchased by the retailer. So there is a putting the claimant on the blacklist. If you don't do say, and will keep you in the blacklist, and eventually buying out the claimant's staff's contract so that they quit. So they pressurized them to quit. The series of action was held to be the conspiracy to injure. The action of the union were beyond that which were legitimate for furthering their own interest and were undertaken with the intention of injuring the claimant's interest. And here they say the conspiracy, but they say it's not a conspiracy. The union members want that every employee should be a union, either their own union or any other union members, trade union. Because do you think that only one trade union is there in the Tanzania? I don't think so. There will be the multiple trade unions are there, and each union will having the support of a political party. It is a general practice. So this can be contrasted with the Crafter and Hand-Woven Harris Street Company versus VTech Company. There is the 1942 Appellate Court 435. The claimant were the non-union weavers of the Harris Street. Again, here the claimant were the non-union weavers. Weavers know the weaving the cloth, textile. Weavers of the Harris Street and employed by the larger Harris Street Association. The defendant union VTech on the behalf of the Transport and General Workers Union and had many members who were also employed by the Harris Street Association. In the face of the decreasing wages, the union wished to bring all of the weavers employed by the association in its members so as to increase the bargaining power. Because a trade union, powerful trade union only can have the high power to bargaining it. But if a trade union doesn't have that was strong members, or the members are very less, they cannot dictate the terms to the employer. So in the face of the decreasing wages, the union wished to bring all of the weavers employed by the association and its members so as to increase the bargaining power. Because to this end, it introduced an embargo against the non-union weavers, since the union also controlled the docks through which both the raw material and the finished goods are travel. Even they want to transport it, the major transport in the world, by the ships, on water transport, not on land or air. Okay, air, a little bit more, land, more and more on water, through the ships. Is it clear? Participants, are you there? So to this end, they introduced an embargo against the non-union weavers, since the union also controlled the docks through which both the raw materials and the finished goods are traveled, and the union weavers also asked them to consolidate their support. The claimant thus brought an action against the defendant on the basis of the conspiracy to injure. No, this claim failed. The reason is the union having their own motto to protect the interests of the employees, even though there is a common intention to be there and more than two are there, but still it doesn't amount to the conspiracy. This claim failed. The court regarded the action of the defendant to be the legitimate. Yes, he can do so, since the object of their action was to best benefit of their members rather than to harm the claimant. It is not the intention of the harm the claimant. No. They want to see the maximum benefit should be done to the employees. That is their motto, a trade union motto. And trade union work for the welfare of the employees. That is another factor. So thus, as long as nothing unlawful has happened and no contract have been breached, and the defendant can show that they were simply seeking a benefit, that no case of the conspiracy will arise. It is not about to conspiracy. If the trade union makes and pressurize the other members, non-union members, to terminate their service to the employer. This is the important, since it allows the trade union to operate without the threat of the tortious liability. Because that is the reason the immunity will be given to the trade union members. Even the employer will sometimes will get fear with the trade union members. And trade union members, they don't work. Please note the point. Especially the leaders. Because they only administer it. They do the administration. They do the other activities. And they will attend the works of these trade union members. And that's why nobody would ask them whether they are present or not. Because sometimes they go to the court, sometimes they go to the other places. So they are exempted from it because they are doing for the public sake. Of course, their work will be done by the other members of the trade union members, those who are there, the employees. So this also illustrates the primary defense to an accusation of the conspiracy, that the action taken is justified, usually the matter of the everyday economic competition, and economic competition there is allowed, but a fair competition should be there again. And the bar for the finding this tort is extremely high. In other words, the justification of the defense is very easy to advance. Yes, it is there. So in the trade union, there would not be any conspiracy at all if they pressurize the other employer, who are the employed the non-union members in their employment. So conspiracy using the unlawful means, how it will be there? Conspiracy using the unlawful means is a much simpler affair, since the defense of justification does not exist. There is no justification exist would be. At that time, there will be no need to distinguish between the legitimate acts of the economic competition and the malicious conduct. No. Even the act itself shows whether the malice is there or not. Instead, it will be sufficient to show that a group of actors conspire to use the unlawful means to inflict the economic harm upon the claimant. The nature of this tort is essentially exactly the same as the tort of unlawful interference discussed above. If the justification would be there, then it's okay. Otherwise, it is unlawful interference. Very clearly, to the extent that the above mentioned Rooks vs. Burness provided the key case. One of the defendants in the case, a trade union official called Silverstone, was not employed by the claimant company at all, and his involvement was merely helping to organize the actual unlawful action of the illegitimate strike. Because they want to make it a legitimate strike, and he is a perpetrator over there, and he is a person who is beyond to move the show. For them, they did not employ. Perhaps, nonetheless, since he was a co-conspirator with those who were actually going on strike, he was held liable to conspiracy. In certain places where it is clearly unlawful would be there, at that instance, we can say that yes, action will be taken against the person where unlawfully he made a strike and he was held liable for the conspiracy. So these are the few items where we can say by the act itself we can know that whether it is a conspiracy or not, or whether it is unlawful interference or not. And there is no distinction to say that malice should be there. No. So this is about the law, economic law and tort. As I said, we will again now will come to our point is economic crimes is concerned, how it will be undertaken. We will see economic theory of the crime, and this is of course taken by the Sriraj KV student. I'm courtesy with him because either you apply the economic theory of India or you apply the economic theory of Tanzania. Economic theory is a theory which will not vary, like 2 into 2 is 4 everywhere in the world, either in Japan or India or in Tanzania. Am I right? Because it is a universal in nature. General principles are universal in nature. And moreover, especially scientific and economic theory is concerned, or we can say jurisprudence is concerned, is a cross-boundary. Is a cross-boundary. The same principle. For instance, if you read public international law here in Tanzania, public international law there in India, almost all the same except the Human Rights Commission and the acts and the establishment over there, but the functions are the same. So introduction is concerned, there is no specific definition given by any criminologist regarding the term economic crime. Especially from the law side, there will not be a definition given of what is economic crime. The most commonly accepted definition regarding the term is that economic crime are done by the offenders mainly upon a motivation for economic gain. So economic crimes were done only because of the motivational to get the economic gain is concerned. At that instance only these economic offenses are happens or it committed. Rather we can use any appropriate terminology. So an economic crime is a conceived of an offense upon which an individual or a group of individuals purposefully act and in illegal manner to gain the financial returns. So to gain the financial returns, illegal manner, either individual or the group of individual acts on the other person and gain the financial returns. By doing so, the main feature of these types of the crimes is that the offender in many cases won't be able to distinguish between the reasons that persuaded them to do the crime and the realization and justification that follow them. But whenever you make a certain criminal wrong and there would be no justification at all. Why you did the rape? She's more attractive. If she's more attractive, do you do the rape? Answer. It's the lust. Suppose if your sister is more attractive, do you do the same activity? Answer is no. But why did you so? Because of propensity in the man's thinking and attitude. Could not control himself. If a person controlled himself, he controlled the world. If a person doesn't control himself, how could he control the world? It's an open secret. It's a universal truth. If you want the growth, control yourself. The growth will be seen. The main feature of these types of the crimes is that the offender in many cases won't be able to distinguish between the reason that persuaded them to do the crime and relation and justification to follow them. A real culprit would be there and he is doing so and there would not be any justification at all. It is the propensity of his criminal behavior will be shown over there. Suppose no one is there in the shop. Let me presume it. Participants, are you hearing me? Say yes. Today both are absent. Okay, doesn't matter because my purpose of staying is to teach and I teach. And here, if in the shop, open, not closed, no one is there, can you go and steal the things? Because no one could see it. Polisana, if the shops are open, no one is there, there are CCTVs are there, vigilance cameras are there, who is entered and what he took it and how he went away. It will record everything. If nothing is there, you are not, it doesn't mean that you are going to steal it. Are you following me? I see, I am not saying the truth and I observed it also. In Saudi Arabia, when the azan given by the muezzin calling for the prayer, when the prayer times are there, all the businessmen without closing their shop, they will go for the prayer. Of course, some are, maybe they pray on the spot only, in the business place only. But the most of the people, they will make the congregation pray. And there is no one is there in the shop. If at all one is there and he is also praying in the shop only. Only one. Can they steal? They cannot steal. Do you know what is the punishment for stealing in the Saudi Arabia? Chop the hand. That is the fear. If you steal a small alpine, you steal a small grain also, it is a stealing. And the punishment is severe. Because of the fear of the punishment, nobody would dare enough to do a particular thing. That I already told in the class also. If the rape punishment is kata indili pumbu, no one can have the dare enough to do the rape in the dream also. Because the punishment will make him to fear and the crime rate will be reduced. And if you chop the hand, if you steal a small grain also, then nobody could dare enough to do anything because he doesn't want to lose the hand. If the hand is there, he can work and he can live freely without having the one hand. And everybody even make the statement that because his hand was chopped, because he has stolen from the property of so and so place, and it is a good lesson to the each and everybody. It is a good lesson to the each and everybody, and hence nobody would do such a thing. Karibu sana Mishimiwa. So I told you that come and do the class. It doesn't mean that I don't take the class. No. If the people are present, I will take the physical class. Even if they are not present, also I will take the class, because I am sitting in the conference floor. I am delivering Pekia, but doesn't matter because I am here to teach. Is it clear? Say yes. Unmute and say yes. It disappeared again. Okay, no matter. So recent survey states that there is the reason for the crime causation is concerned. The reason for the commission of an offense differ, and disciplines like the economic predicted or irrational behavior may be disadvantageous in explaining the phenomena largely viewed as irrational. So recent survey states that there are three central issues for the economic of crime. Why the people will commit a crime? What is the reason behind that? Why they want to steal? Why don't you work hard and get the money? So generally the survey made is central issues are concerned for the economic crimes are, number one, the effect of incentive on criminal behavior. The effect of incentives on criminal behavior, how the criminal behavior would be there, what is the incentive and what the steps should be taken. Two, how decision interact in a market setting. How the market setting would be there, interact it. And three, use of the cost-benefit analysis for implementing the alternative policies. What is the best method of the cost analysis to control the economic crimes? Now let us see to reduce the crime. So many social scientists argue that crime is closely related to work. Yes, crime is nothing but an activity. It is not a dream, a work, and that to be a hard work. They're clearly related to work and education and poverty. And when you want to work it, yes, the work can be the education you achieved or you got it. And the poverty makes you to work even for the meager prices also, even though you do not get a good, suitable job, depending upon your qualification. So unemployment and crime may product or byproducts or even measures of the social exclusion. Where there is unemployment is more, there is a crime rate is more. Where there is employment is more, there is no question of a crime, because nobody would have to do a crime because everybody is busy in the employment. Is it clear? So unemployment and crime are byproducts and even a measure of the social exclusion. Even the people who excluded over there, like orphans. Orphans become criminals because there is nobody to love them. Because the father and mother, even they themselves don't know. If they know also, they will be thrown away. Or if they know also, their whereabouts are not known. So many of the criminals often have a limited education. When you see the criminal record, do you think that the criminal is a scientist? And unless until in the provocation, if he killed the wife, because the wife went with somebody else for the BBC. Did you get my point? BBC means, yes, tell me, body to body contact. Yes, limited education or possess a limited labor market skills. Even the criminals, they are not the scientists. The criminals, they are not the professors. The criminals, they are not the managers. They are the less educated people and semi-skilled or a blue-collar job, a casual laborers. Another major aspect regarding the commission of the crime is that many of the offenders consider crime as a paid employment where they can generate the income. Some of the people, they said, it is an employment. If you do this activity and they will pay this much. If you kill that man and you will get this much amount. If you will make him handicapped because of certain vengeance with somebody else, yes, they will be paid. And if you did the act and you will get the money, and that will be the easy money. So crime has paid employment. Is like employment where they can generate the income. They will get the income without less hard work, but more dare work. Some of the persons commit a crime purely for meeting their needs. And some people, they need it because they want to have the sex. They will just go to the place and pick out one person and they will rape her because they want the needy. Could they do so? Answer no. They could not do so. Because if you are needy, suppose if you are needy, you are thirsty, or if you are hungry, and can you go and steal the bread from the bakery? Answer no. You buy it or you make a contract with him. Sir, I don't have the money. I will eat one bread. I will work for 1 hour to 2 hours washing the utensils or cup and saucers or tables, or cleaning the tables. So you made a prayer contract with it and then you eat it. But you cannot steal it and eat it. And if you ask them why you have stolen the loaf of the bread, sir, I have stolen it because I am hungry, because I did not eat more than 3 days. No, that is not the answer. If the stealing is stealing, whatever the consequences would be there. Of course, the propensity would be there. It depends on the gravity of the offense, the punishment will be made. So thus the economic theory of the crime has focused on the sanctions, effects, and the relationship between the work and the crime. Apart from this, there are certain other factors which lead to a person to commit a crime. So, few factors are less education and not studied well, and no poverty, and no love and affection, and these people are overthrown, they are marginalized, and some of them doesn't know even their father, mother also. They are the orphans, and nobody is there to take care of them. And these people will become the hardcore criminals. If these people are given employment, or if these people are given the education, then our GDP of the nation will be high because they create the employment, they generate the products, they do many miracles because education makes a man from a graphite to a diamond, from a black coal to a diamond. But only the thing is, you have to cherish it, you have to nurture it, you have to determine it, you have to cut it, you have to make efforts, then it becomes a diamond. Is it clear? So, expected gains from the crime when compared with the legal works. The one of the bullet point is other factors to commit a crime, and with the factor lead to a person to commit a crime is expected gains from crime when compared with the legal works. In the crime, you will get the more money in the less time and the less hard work, but more days. When you compare with the legal works. When you do the legal works for the 8 hours, 10 hours, for the 30 days, of course, monthly holiday one, and you will get the mishara, the salary. Once only you could see that much salary, because all salary will go in the daily expenses. And you have to pay it where you borrowed the money, where you borrowed the provisions, and making the promise to them that they will pay after getting the salary. So once they receive the salary, all the payments will be paid because they are due and they will be paid at the time of the salary. And only a limited amount would be left with you to run your life. So that is number one. The second bullet is chances of being caught and convicted. Yes, if you are caught, you are a thief. If you are not caught, you are a king. Are you following me? Are you following me? Yes, it will end by the 5 minutes. Yes. So, chance of being caught or convicted, definitely. Extent of punishment, depending upon that what nature of the offense that you committed it, and the punishment will be given based on the nature of the offense, the gravity of the offense. And the last bullet is opportunities in the legal activities. So, in the legal activities, hard one, but the remuneration is illegal, but it is a proportionate, and a man will become a social animal to live in the society without any having friction in the society. From the people, of the people, by the people, whatever it may be there. Abraham, is it John F. Kennedy? No, Abraham Lincoln. Yes, Lincoln's statement is. Society plays a crucial role in deciding the character of a particular person. If a person is a good Samaritan, a good preacher, a good academician, a good politician, a notorious criminal, a notorious loafer, it is the society will make them to label them because of their behavior, their conduct. The character of the community will be readily reflected in a person's character. Yes, the community will decide what the character of a particular person. Thus, the person who lives in a good and healthy society may have a good character when compared to a person living in a slum or any such area where the criminals are living, then automatically he also gets the same criminal bent of mind. This statement was well established in the Bongars and theory of economics criminality. The Bongar, and he has worked hard and he made such a theory of economic criminality. In this theory, William Adrian Bongar stated that, his full name is Adrian Bongar, stated that there is a causal link between the crime and the prevailing economic and social conditions. So when a crime is committed over there, it is having a surrounding link with the economic and social condition of a person, and who is the wrongdoer or perpetrator. And he asserted that crime is a social in origin and a normal response to prevailing cultural conditions. The crime started from the society. The society makes it to, if the society will eliminate the crime, then nobody will be the criminal over there. But if society will encourages them, then the criminal will start. And the society people, those who are not well educated, not studied, not having background, and not cared, not employment, and that's why they become the hardcore criminals later for their livelihood, for their necessity. They steal it and they become a habit to them and they don't work because nobody gives the works also them because the label is there that he's a thief and his photograph would be there in each and every police station. Are you following me? And hence they say it is originated from the society and a normal response to prevailing cultural and conditions. And another normal response is the prevailing cultural condition. What is the cultural condition of here, that family? And you could see him, the Bongar, if I not be mistaken, Adrian Bongar. And he is contended that in more primitive society, of course, barbaric crime would be there. Primitive society, survival requires more selfless altruism in the community. And the primitive society, might is right. Who is strong and he can survive. And he can kill even a weak person also. So might is right there at the time. But later on, the society becomes cultured and now they follow the particular norms and selfless. And altruism would be there and the community would be there, and a community, everybody should have to live peacefully and amicably without any friction and fraction. So when a capitalism emerges, there was a social force of the competition and wealth in the capitalism resulting in an unequal distribution of the resources, which also lead to the individualism and one's self-interest and more egoistic impulses asserts in a person. Crime emerges. If it is a socialist society, it would be there, then the crime rate will be there nil because nobody needs it. Because
Tubariki watoto wa Tanzania.